And also, I think we did solve the trash problem that they were discussing earlier for this map. You don't try to throw it into the sun, that's too far away to target. You throw it at the earth, and hopefully it lands in a garbage can.
Well, it lands on a garbage can, or it takes out a villain. Like, you could be a superhero right there, you're trash man.
Yeah, exactly, or it just burns up on re-entry. So, I mean, the trash problem will be solved, although they have Roombas somewhere on this this map here. Little floor cleaning robots. What is your purpose? You clean floors. Oh my god.
You know what? I'll take that over passing butter. At least at that point, I feel like I'm.
I don't think you would. I think you would pass the butter as the robot because then you'd be taking little.
Oh, I would be stealing umbrage. The butter. Yeah. It'd be like, here's a small chunk of butter. Where did the rest of the butter go?
You'd be you'd be the worst butter passing robot. You'd be thieving butter constantly.
I proudly take the title of butter thief. I actually identify as that. But as we look here at the defense for New Zealand, anything really surprising you here, Hax?
Defensively, not entirely. This is a decent map for running your Diva and Winston. A dive defense works just fine here. I guess Cantus on the Ana could be a little bit interesting, but he's been running all sorts of different supports here. Brazil did show us that they were queued up on the Pharah and Mercy, but they're just going to run pure dive instead, and they want to run a Genji and Tracer, which means Miraz will be the one on Diva duty.
That's a nice little fake out, though. Brazil is looking like they're going to go to the left. Now they went to the right. New Zealand, they took the bait for a moment. They were in hot pursuit, then realized, wait, they haven't committed to this here just yet. Brazil with nice positioning, and they forced Legabriel out. He was almost poked down here early on, so a little bit of moving here from Brazil that caught New Zealand off guard.
Alamo's done a really good job of deterring these DPS from coming in. It's been both Tracer and Genji behind him the whole time. However, Legabriel is the one who draws the first blood here. They're able to take down both supports, and for all intents and purposes, this push is over, ZP.
Well, you can have all the razzle-dazzle in the world, but it doesn't matter when you get punched right in the face, and that is what just happened there. Oh,
yeah.
No, it's happening!
Oh, yeah!
Blood for the blood god! Or the moon god. Whatever, there's a pile of divas down there. I don't think he's keeping count at this point.
A little snooze and a slide off the edge of the moon. It actually looked kind of peaceful. I wanted to see her suffer a little more, to be honest. Well, Brazil's going to have to reset a little bit here as they try to push back. And the fight was all New Zealand. That's reflected in the ultimate charges right now, as both their DPS have it as well, and Cantus gets to choose who gets the extra power of the nano boost.
Brazil right now, multiple options. They look to go straight for the gut, but it's a rough engagement here so far. Willets taking both supports out because they were abandoned by their tanks. The tanks of Brazil just went in one by one without a lot of rhyme or reason, and they are able to even up. Both supports are down for the defense, so now no one gets heals, and Brazil, they're working this to their advantage despite how that opened up.
Well, it's extremely back and forth. This might end up favoring a little bit for the defense here, as the reinforcements should be there a touch quicker, and they're able to stall out the point. Still no progress. They're going to double down, does Brazil, as they launch in Neo with a Primal Rage. He's been so strong for this team today.
No doubt about it. And Brazil now, they're in a more dominant position. Their respawn wave is coming in. They have a Transcendence for this next fight. New Zealand has to tread lightly here. They will have a barrier up, but they don't have much time. They're already down 2 ticks. They're going to engage, but Brazil is holding strong right now. And so far, New Zealand not able to crack this offense.
Brazil's going to have the better support ults. In fact, they're just going to have the better supports because both supports now down for New Zealand, and that is going to lead to everyone else falling quickly in turn. But you know what? It's an assault map. It's first point on assault. A pretty solid defense overall from New Zealand just to buy some time there.
It's decent time bought on first. I wouldn't call it a great first point defense, but it's better than getting wiped out immediately. Brazil, though, they have momentum, and this is dangerous for New Zealand. They have to have a really good sound barrier here to deal with this engage. Brazil, they double down. The barrier is in, and Liko, he's going to wait out the barrier from New Zealand and then go in with the blade. He's just biding his time, and there it is. The blade is out. Finds Cantus immediately, cutting him down, looking for more, dashing through, and Brazil, it's almost a clean sweep. New Zealand is in trouble.
It's going to be a miracle for New Zealand if they can get back here. They're now switching over to a stall kind of composition as they put a Mei in. That is Cantus, who's their main support, going to be on the Mei, trying to get back out here just to stall the point. They do have a body there. That's Cantus. Is he even on it? They are so close to capturing it, 96%. There it is. There's the cap as Brazil completes Horizon Lunar Colony.
Cantus goes to the Mei there at the end, but definitely melts a bit under the pressure. So,
boo.
Like, I just need to be in a competition for you here for the most just ha-has we can find.
Dude, that joke is great. You know, because an 8 looks like a 0 wearing a belt. Do I have to explain it to you?
No.
It's just bad? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Brazil does capitalize on their offensive push there. New Zealand going to try to match that one here and maybe do another round of Horizon Lunar Colony. We'll see how it goes. I'm actually very relieved that both of these teams won a map. I mean, I was very worried. I don't want anyone going home with that 0 there, the goose egg as we call it, the squadouche as it's colloquially referred to.
The pressure is off, there's no doubt about it. At this point where no matter what you could say, you at least got a map, but it would be just a little bit sweeter if you were to come back and at least win a full series. So both these teams, they are playing for pride. I mean, and talking with them before the event, they do take playing for their country relatively seriously, so no one wants to go out without winning a series.
I'm rooting for a draw here. More points for everyone. You get a point, you get a point, everyone gets a point. Like,
Oprah would be proud, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give away cars. I'm going to give away fake points.
I would be more worried you'd be giving away beads.
Beads? Beads? All right, we are set up here now on Horizon Lunar Colony as Brazil will be playing the role of defense now. New Zealand looks for their offense. Anything out of the ordinary sticking out to you, ZP?
Take a look at this offense right now. No, I mean, the one thing I will note on the offense from New Zealand here is that they're very much sticking with the similar setup where they're going with Tracer Genji into the double tank of Diva Winston. And I would just take note of Huwu here, where Legabriel, if Huwu is with him, can do very well at opening the way, but sometimes Legabriel goes in without Huwu, and then it doesn't quite end as well. So tank coordination something to look out for here for New Zealand.
It might be a little bit difficult. Brazil is running a triple DPS defense, which means a ton of damage. Anti-heal already in it. Neo capitalizes it. That's a lot of damage right there. 3 gone in the blink of an eye.
Add another to the pile.
She was in the mech. That should have saved her life. It's like a spacesuit, right?
It was a poorly made mech. It was not made for space travel.
We've seen it been hit by cars before, so that mech is a bargain mech for sure. But it's just beautiful right there. The anti-heal, the dive in to soften them up, and then the dash through on the stairs when everyone's crowded up. That fight was over in the blink of an eye. A beautifully executed defensive dive from Brazil.
It was lightning fast too. New Zealand, if you blinked, you would have missed their supports going down. And again, Brazil not wanting to give this up for free. Dudu off the flank, but each some shurikens there to the head. He's down immediately. And New Zealand, they get some time to lick their wounds here. They're wounded, but they have only lost 1 here so far. However, with Liko finding Willex, this gives Brazil a little bit more room to work with.
This is nearly over. That's 2 kills. They lost Cantus right away on the entry, and it was Neil, yet again, who's been a big mark of a very impressive Winston is can you land the initial jump damage, and it makes your job so much easier, and it makes your DPS job that much easier. There goes another support for New Zealand. They have to try something different because this path is closed.
Liko has been absolutely shut down right now in his play, where New Zealand, anytime they try to move in, Liko is there and able to take them down. And his reward is that he has a Dragon Blade in the reserve, and Colero, more than willing perhaps to power it up. This could be an electric fight here for Liko.
I wonder if they're going to send Signed in first to try to distract in the back lines. Going in with the tanks first has not worked, but here comes a Nano Blade into the back line. Liko taken down though. Nice play from Legabriel. Nice catch.
Power was cut there. Not quite as electric as he would have hoped, and New Zealand was ready for the Nano Blade. Now New Zealand has a much better opportunity moving in here. They have the man advantage. Big ultimates are down. Pulse bomb from Dudu goes in, but does not get the kill. New Zealand now in a great position to take this point.
Brazil had the ultimate advantage, but they spent 2 onto that Nano Blade, and the Nano Blade only got 1 kill in return. Not exactly the return on investment that you're looking for. They finally have a decent position here, does Brazil, but New Zealand also in a very solid position themselves. We'll see what Brazil can do here on the defense. They need to get in here and stop this point.
Liko doing better without ultimates, as it turns out. Finds Cantus, and Marie's with the tack visor looking for targets, but it's Willex in the back with the blade, slicing through, gets both supports with Birdie, and makes it a triple kill to finish this out with style. New Zealand now on the hunt.
Nearly every fight that they've won in this entire tournament has been off the back of Willex's blade. He has shown some brilliant play. Here you have to give credit to his Lucio as well, as he's going to get the sound barrier, keeps him nice and healthy as he slashes through the opposing team. Now they're going to have time to try to close out this map.
Willex just not respect his Indiana Jones there, where if the sword versus the gun's supposed to win. Not in that case. He closed the gap, dealt with the tack visoring soldier, and now New Zealand with a prime opportunity. They will get no better as EMP is not charged up right now.
Well, Cantus might just initiate with this Transcend, as he's been the prime target of this Brazil team, and he's gone down very quickly. They do make some changes here. Coolermaster's going to be on the Sombra for the Brazilian team on their defense. He's going to need a little bit of time to get EMP. They need to win this fight if they want to have the Sombra have an impact.
2 nice opening kills here for New Zealand. If they're able to heal up and stabilize, this could be big. Coolermaster still a long ways away from the EMP. Liko is going to have to put a lot on his shoulders right now. Has the blade for the defense, but not a great opportunity right now. Now he's under pressure. Does he go in or does he wait for his team? There's the barrier. Here comes the blade. Liko finds his counterpart, looks for more. Zenyatta versus Genji, and Huwu with the save. Cantus bailed out.
Going to be enough, though, for Brazil to stabilize on this defense. And when you switch compositions in the manner in which Brazil did, you need to win the fight right after. And you need to do so mostly on raw mechanics or on the heroes that didn't switch their compositions, which is exactly what you saw there. Mirrors was on Reaper. He was at 50%. He's going to switch over to 76 instead. But most importantly, Coolermaster, who made the switch onto Sombra, is nearing an EMP for this next fight.
And this is where Ultimate Economy can become so difficult here for New Zealand, where Coolermaster can chain EMPs and give breathing room for the rest of this Brazilian team. So New Zealand right now, they're moving in, but they lose Willix immediately. And given the fact that the EMP is up, this fight is already over.
Yeah, given the fact that they lost Willix, it doesn't matter if an EMP is up or not. He has been the saving grace for this team. He is the initiator and the finisher. And I mean, even whatever middle part of a fight is, he's also that for this team. They are on the cleanup now, and now Brazil will take their advantage and stretch it even further.
The staggering going out there, and Huwu not able to get out in time, but at least they're not throwing divas into the pile anymore.
I get amused. And there's something funny about when people die in zero gravity. I don't know what it is. It's the slow motion aspect of it, I suppose. Well, New Zealand has won fights based on Willix's blade, and Willix about to have a blade. He does see that the Sombra is in there somewhere, trying to reveal her by doing just a little bit of damage. Behind, he does find the Sombra, but Sombra says, bye, I will see you later. She's got the translocator, but he does pull Coolermaster down.
Coolermaster is out. There is no EMP. A huge opportunity now for New Zealand, able to leap right in off of that early pickoff, and Maurice gets his head chopped right off. Willix there with the plays, and New Zealand coming in with power, coming in with style. The Transcendence is out, and Brazil is on the back foot.
There is a combo here available. Not anymore as Liko goes down. The EMP wanted to set up for that Dragon Blade so he could clean up the remainder of that. New Zealand will finish out the map. A little lesser of a time, but that we will go to another round of Lunar Horizon Column. Horizon Lunar Column, sorry.
Either way, we're on the
Those three
moon.
words, yeah. They should have just called it the moon.
That would make things easier. But no, it's a lunar colony that is no longer a lunar colony. Whatever.
I think there was a dangerous hamster that escaped, if I remember the lore correctly.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for a hamster hero who like is in one of those those hamster plastic balls. You know what I'm talking about?
He's Lord of the Diva Pit now. That is his domain.
Lord of the Diva Pit.
But what we saw there was that even though New Zealand did not quite get as quick of a time as Brazil, they kept themselves in this game, and this is where, for New Zealand, you can make a bit of a comeback. If they can strike into point A immediately, not waste too much time, then maybe you're looking at the momentum where you do end up with 4 points and you make things a lot more difficult for Brazil. A lot is going to depend on this first defense coming out from Brazil and whether or not they can stall New Zealand once more.
Yeah, twice the amount of time here. I think New Zealand has to learn from their last offensive push that they can't necessarily go that right side. Brazil seems to have that one figured out, that defense on lockdown. The anti-heal, the jump in, and then Liko dashing through. They should probably spread out a little bit more. When they were successful, actually, they opened up a little bit of space by Sign going through the back already and then making them respond to him, open up the front lines, and then the rest of the team was able to come in.
New Zealand now underway. Of course, they would very much like to get this map for pride, if nothing else. And they're going straight up the gut. No subterfuge here this time. They're going straight in immediately, and they get onto the point. Sign, though, under pressure early on. Has to use the rewind in the beginning, and Willix not able to stay alive. Liko now getting the work in the back, dashing through, and New Zealand in a little bit of disarray. It's 5-on-5.
Yeah, it's going to be closer. Legabro missed a couple of jumps there. I think he hit his shin on a barrier on the way up and was unable to complete his dive and slowed down the offense there. New Zealand now looking for a little bit more entry. A slow going here, but they will finally get decent positioning here on their push. But it's not great to go slow when you have this limited amount of time. We're below 90 seconds for the offense.
New Zealand cannot just work around here for positioning. They need to engage, and then if they lose, get another engage. Maurice, though, this time able to take down Legabro, and Brazil, this is where they can posture more aggressively. New Zealand, they have to back up and respect this because Brazil will overwhelm them with the numerical advantage. New Zealand might be going down to their final attempts here in just a moment.
Yeah, such a slow push that now we're getting under a minute. Maybe just trying to charge up ults and go all in on one fight, but that does allow Brazil to do the exact same. As Calero nears his nano, that nano can be traded in for any other ultimate too, as everyone is about 70%. By the time the nano ends, they will have their own ult as well.
New Zealand now moving in for what could be their final attempts here on Horizon, looking for weakness. They get Calero down immediately. This is going to force a response from Liko. Liko with the blade, finds Birdie, looking for more. He's getting the slashes and damage in, but it's not enough. He's going to fall. Maurice, though, in from the other side, the tac visor striking blood, and the DPS of Brazil are finding ways of delaying New Zealand here.
New Zealand is going to pull back, wait for the remainder, and try one last push here. Maybe they knocked on the front door. Is that a mega?
No, it's a hacked mega. That is a trap. You need to throw it away immediately. You are in danger. Sombra's watching you. But now New Zealand coming in for their final attempt, looking for a way in. And Willix has a blade. He can keep them alive here for another 30 seconds if they are able to take this. But the barrier is out. Willix moves in, looking for the soldier, getting kited around, not able to land those immediate shots. And meanwhile, Dudu doing terrible damage to the back line of New Zealand.
Willix was already so patient. I'm not sure why he busted out the blade as soon as he saw the sound barrier. At best, he was going to get one off of that. Calero and Mures will stay alive together with the anti-heal and the cleanup. No progress on the point for the New Zealand second push.
And that's tough given the amount of time that Brazil is going to have for their first point attack, and also tough when you consider how Brazil was able to take point A relatively quickly. So, dangerous times here for New Zealand. Not impossible to hold in the situation and force a tie, but easier said than done.
It was odd because it was a case of impatience, or patience causing impatience. They took too long in their first couple of pushes. Then at the end, he was being very patient with the blade. Sound barrier came off, and then he pulled the blade out afterwards. It seemed like an odd decision, and some nice elusive maneuvers from the Soldier 76, but Willix probably pressing the issue, feeling like there's a lot of pressure on him. I can understand that a bit. Now, Brazil in a position to take this map with only 33% capture point.
So Brazil, not too much pressure on them here if they want to take this map and assure themselves at worst a 2-2 finish. So 4 minutes, 33 seconds. Hex, you think we're going to be seeing anything too crazy coming out here from Brazil?
Well, right now, Alamo is on the Torb. I don't think he's going to come out, but I'm all for it. Torb is actually decent on this map. Some of his turrets can get in sneaky, spots, but an offensive Torb would be odd from your Lucio player, so they're going to switch last second here. No, I'm actually just rooting for a draw. As I said, I just want everyone to get as many points as possible, and this is a map that you can absolutely draw on.
You are the master of equality right now, Hex.
Yeah.
You just want everyone to be a winner.
I like when people are happy.
It's fair.
I've heard happiness exists. I don't know it myself.
Well, you've heard the lies, my friend. But Brazil now moving in right now, going to the right, looking for their way in. Liko being a little bit more far up, supported by the Transcendent Sword. They're able to take down Cantus immediately, though. A huge pick here for Brazil, and this could be over in a blink of an eye if they're able to get just one more.
They have gone after Cantus when he's on offense, when he's on defense, no matter what. They have focused him down very quickly. They go in a little bit of trouble, going to climb a wall, but does get taken down. Some stabilization here from the New Zealand defense. No progress that will be permanent from the Brazil offense.
Well, it's stabilization, but they also are wounded rather heavily. Respawns will be coming in soon, so New Zealand, if nothing else, can expect to be under a bit of pressure here. But Brazil, they're actually going to go for a full reset, so New Zealand should have that time to regroup. They survived the storm, at least for the first push.
Cantus has to just be calling for help. Maybe he needs to stay a little closer to Birdie to get that peel from the Lucio. The Lucio can keep him alive, but Cantus has been focused down very hard in these fights, and maybe that's why he's playing Ana for the sleep dart to help himself out, get the splash damage there. Now the next fight about to commence. Both teams circling around, looking for weaknesses.
Dudu right now into the back line. Supports are on his menu, but they are fighting back. He uses rewind, and now he's going to be a little bit more cautious while he waits for it to come back up. Meanwhile, Willix versus Liko here at the top. Willix has a Discord orb on him, and he's going to fall. Calero finishing that out. A 6v5 chance here for Brazil, and the soundbit for New Zealand really didn't do that much. Now Liko at the blade, looking to finish it out, gets the kills he needs, makes it 2, D-Max the Diva, and Brazil should be taking this third map, and they do.
Brazil will take the map. And that's why we talked yesterday and in the last several days about why it's so important for Brazil to run their own style. Taking Liko off the Genji just seems like a mistake. He's been a great part of this team. You see right there with the cleanup of the Dragon Blade. Their triple DPS style works for them, and I would like to see him run it more throughout the tournament.
You think about the great moments for Brazil, most of them have revolved around Liko on the Genji, where he has been one of their biggest playmakers, and the map we just saw here, no exception. Of course, speaking of Genjis, this is where Willix had a little bit more glory, diving in and around, spacing people out, and finding Maurice, of course, before he could get back into that spawn.
It seems to be the strategy on this map to, when you're pushing into last, you send your DPS right outside the door. We've seen more people die right outside of spawn than on any other map. It becomes difficult to get out there, and I think that's the right approach to it, and most teams have won the map by doing just that.
While New Zealand, they still have an opportunity to even things out, and they're going to be bringing us to Rustic Dorado, it looks like.
Good old Dorado. I enjoy me some Dorado. New Zealand, they were the team that we met most that really wanted to play for their country, for their pride. They were so happy to be representing their country, and now they're on the board. We are going to Dorado, one of the best songs in the game.
It's great. I don't even want to say anything here. I just want to sit here and listen. But can you say that? There was a time where you had that muted. I remember.
Sometimes I have to mute stuff. Now I'm just enjoying it.
Well, we're both enjoying right now. But Dorado will, of course, be our escort map to round out this group stage. Brazil would like to go home with a dominant 3-1 performance. New Zealand very much like to even this up. See what both teams have in store.
I can actually play part of that song. This song.
Can you?
Yeah, the maracas. I'm an excellent maraca player.
I feel like I need to see this now.
Well, you get me maracas, you tell me the time and place, and I will do the Dorado cut. Only the maracas, though. So right now I wouldn't be doing anything.
I'm putting it on my calendar. I'm going to call your bluff.
I'll stream it live. We'll do the maraca cover of Dorado's theme song. So this is a map that I think Brazil probably has to run a Diva on. I feel Diva's so necessary on Dorado, especially Dorado's second.
Second is what I was going to point to there, because even though you can get away with it in Courtyard, when you go in the second, of course, has high ground elevation as a key point that the defense likes to work on. And if you're not able to easily go from low ground to high ground, it can be difficult to exert control over that portion of the map.
New Zealand on their offense could possibly just run a bunch of tanks. I think there is a possibility to not take high ground if you're going to run a Zarya Rein. You just wait, you have the big bodies on the ground. But it is going to be New Zealand on the defense first, and they're set up in their pretty dive defense with Cantus playing the Ana. Brazil right now, we'll wait a second, because I think Alamo, as much as I would love to see some Roadhog this tournament, the odd to see Roadhog out of your Lucio player.
I still want to see it.
I know.
If Bacon Jack can flirt with Roadhog, why can't Alamo?
Bacon Jack should be on Roadhog. His name is like a great Roadhog name.
It's true.
Yeah.
Roadhog is absolutely associated with Bacon, and therefore Bacon Jack, we should just force him to play Roadhog.
Yeah, I think that seems fair. I think we should just play Mystery Heroes for the finals.
Works for me. But speaking of working, Brazil not wasting any time in getting to work here, moving over the top and getting taken down just as fast. Willix, anti-air Genji in the house, finding him early on. And Brazil going to get thrown back immediately. Not quite the engage they're looking for.
Yeah, Cantus able to punish the people who've been diving on him the entire time. That must feel like sweet retribution for the support player there. Due to try to get in on him, unable to happen. They dive down, finish up the rest, and now get back into position. So this aggressive defense working out for New Zealand so far.
New Zealand right now able to maintain control, punish Brazil for what was a little bit of a discoordinated dive, and now Brazil actually second-guessing how they want to go in this. Applying a lot of pressure to Huwu, but Huwu simply goes right out. Now they move the Legabrill, who drops right in and also leaps out. So the tanks of New Zealand going in, leaving.
It was like synchronized swimming. It was so odd that just one tank would drop down, take a little bit of damage up, and then go back and forth for each other, but Sign goes down.
If it was swimming, then Sign just drowned. That is not exactly how New Zealand wanted that to go. He pokes a little bit too deep as Tracer, and now Brazil able to get an advantage after what was a little bit of a rocky start.
This is a tough spot right now for New Zealand. Do they want to come back in? Neither of the DPS have the ultimates. You want to save this boost for Blade, but they just used the boost already. So a boost onto, I believe it's Willix trying to get to the Blade out there. It might be on Legabrill as well, but still getting pushed out in the corner. Willix falls. Cantus under heavy pressure.
Big pressure coming in from Brazil, and more importantly, large amounts of momentum where they get those opening 3 kills. They're cleaning up everyone in the courtyard, all the scraps being devoured, and now you look into the next stage here. They have a Dragon Blade, which can be very good at sweeping people off the rooftops. Brazil working on what could be an insurmountable advantage if they play this next fight right.
Well, Brazil is going to have the ultimate ability advantage, but New Zealand essentially gave it to them by using some of their ults early. They're not going to have that nano boost, which they would love to have. However, up top, the offense is going to always take high ground early. It's a matter of if they can hold it. Dudu's going to try to blink in, does throw the pulse off, eaten up by the Diva.
Sucked right up by the defensive matrix. It is gone. Dudu not getting the early pickoff he wants, but is able to escape with his life using those blinks in reverse. And meanwhile, the rest of Brazil doing very well. Liko still holding the Dragon Blade in reserve right now, and the Transcendence going to come in, letting them keep this forward progress. And the Blade coming out from Willix this time, finds Alamo, but Liko, having none of it, simply takes him down with some shurikens.
Now, Willix has had hero plays, but that was an ambitious Dragon Blade to say the least. He thought he was going to be able to bring the fight back for his team, and New Zealand so far a bit loose with their ultimate ability, perhaps having just a little bit of fun right now as they've thrown a couple into lost fights thus far. Maybe waiting here. Dudu is unseen. He's just hanging out. They don't even see him.
Well, he knows that Liko is ready to party. There's the barrier. Here's the Blade, and he finds Cantus immediately, striking deeply into New Zealand territory. 4 kills now from Brazil, and this relentless assault continues. It is a full, complete team wipe.
Team kill horn comes out, but in the spirit of Dorado, it should be team kill Maraca. It's a little shaking noise.
You really like your Maraca.
I'll record it for them if they want, but I think that should be the new team kill noise.
Well, speaking of team kills, that's not a Maraca, that is a sword, and used pretty darn well there, Hex.
Yes, he's got the rhythm going right there. Brazil has executed their ultimates almost perfectly this entire map, and they continue to roll through. This is a blazing fast Dorado time, by the way. New Zealand's done nothing to stabilize.
New Zealand looks broken right now. It's Colero, a double kill from a Zenyatta. Bloodthirsty indeed, as Brazil now a 6v4 advantage, continually keeping New Zealand staggered. New Zealand has been looking for stability, and they simply cannot find it.
It has been one-sided, as the earlier maps were brawls back and forth. They were trading. It ended up being 2v2s to really decide points. This has been all Brazil. It has been all them. They've been cleaning up teams wholly and completely. New Zealand needs to execute one of these ultimates to finally find some traction here, but there goes another pulse bomb that gets nothing from side.
And now Colero able to shake the pressure, going into the underpass. Unfortunately, while he's doing that, he's not able to get the healing up, and New Zealand finally able to throw Brazil out. They reclaim their castle that also functions as a power plant.
The Lumeric Corporation, I believe. Overwatch is a unique game in which you don't have to necessarily eliminate a foe to completely pull them out of a fight. You saw right there, if you can just knock Zen away, then the healing is out of it, the Discord is out of it, and he's essentially out of the fight. He doesn't go back to spawn, but he might as well. So there's a lot of positioning battles that happen. Yes, getting the elimination is quicker and more efficient, but there's other ways to win a fight.
And now for Brazil, we see how they're going in. Dudu is leading the way. He's looking for the early pulse bomb to give them what could be a man advantage if he can get a stick onto the back line. But now he's waiting with his team, seeing if anyone comes in from the flank. That's where he can go for Tracer versus Tracer and try and get an advantage that way. But so far, Brazil is being cautious.
He's waiting for his team to call out targets. There is an early sound barrier as the defense tries to engage here. Dudu's going to fall back with his team and try to find something there, but now it is now back and forth as it was earlier. Willix out of this fight as Liko pulled out the Blade.
That was Blade versus Blade, and it was Liko striking true, able to give Brazil an advantage. And again, Eden Huwu is effectively a vacuum cleaner brand at this point because he has been doing great at nullifying those pulse bombs. However, Brazil is still applying pressure.
Insult to injury onto Dudu. He eats up his pulse bomb and then kills him with his self-destruct. And the defense has stabilized for New Zealand. Now this is a point where a lot of defenses stabilize, because Dorado last is infamously hard to deal with. The defender's advantage taking the high ground is great, and this is the smart move from New Zealand. A little bit of chase, seeing if they get anything for free out here, but you want to fall back to where you have the best advantage. That is high ground on the upper right-hand side.
This has been very good stabilization coming out right now from New Zealand, where yes, the first part of the map was rough, but with only a minute 30 left, Hex, because they've been using the defensive advantages to their credit, they have really been stymieing this Brazil attack, and now they're going to a Reaper just to look for anything that could bring this through.
I like the Reaper because the biggest problem that they've had to deal with has been Huwu, who's been in his mech nearly the entire time, and Legabril's also getting a lot of damage. This has been a great tournament for a solid tank play, and Reaper now coming back into the meta, trying to deal with it. They do find a Winston in the corner, but look, a nice help out, both tanks playing together, and Liko taken out.
That was a tough approach for Liko, walking directly into a D.Va, staring her into the eyes, and getting taken out by a group of 3 people. So a little bit tough coming in there as New Zealand very easily controlling space now. Brazil finding themselves down to the final minute.
Oh, it's a beautiful play, though, because he was walking straight into a Winston, and then the D.Va came and shut him down. Your tanks have to work as one unit if they want to survive together. Tanks are not only initiators, but they're about keeping people alive, being Johnny on the spot with their mobility, and turning those 1v1s into non-even situations.
Well, speaking of one-on-ones right now, Dudu will be looking for this pulse bomb here. Backed up by what could be a transcendence from Calero. Brazil down to their final opportunity. 24 seconds remaining. Pulse bomb is out, did not connect. Willix now with the blade, slicing in, countered by the Transcendence, not getting too much off of that. But with Alamo down, New Zealand still has a big advantage here as the supports for Brazil no longer able to heal as effectively as they'd like, and New Zealand, they're going to double down with the barrier of their own.
Huwu has had a great game just overall. He's able to shut down the Reaper yet again and then finish up on the kill. And based off the strength of that D.Va play and some of the DPS on the cleanup, it does appear that New Zealand will push back Brazil and not allow them to finish Dorado.
Great last point defense coming out here from New Zealand, where it was looking rough. They did very little right on the first 2 points as Brazil simply washed over them like a wave. But then they recovered, they resurged, and they held Brazil back and stopped them from completing the map.
D.Va's so good on defense there too, because the flank paths are completely the same size as her defense matrix. You saw on the lower level, the Reaper tries to come in, defense matrix out. On the upper side, if you try to send your Tracer up there, D.Va's very mobile. She can go up the upside. Defense matrix out. Shut down so much damage. Did Huwu. Probably his best game of the day.
It was very good. I mean, anytime you're a D.Va and you're devouring that many pulse bombs, you can feel happy. But it wasn't just that. That was the flash. That was the spice. The rest of it from Huwu was just very good protection, where even when a Reaper came into the mix, he protected his team and said, look, let's take this 3-on-1 while mitigating anything that Liko was trying to get done.
If we didn't mention that the Reaper was in the conversation, you wouldn't have known. He got absolutely nothing done, no damage, was unable to even de-mech Huwu a single time. Those tanks worked together great. They had to try something. Now, Brazil did push it pretty far for Dorado. Brazil has a chance to close out this map as long as they prevent New Zealand from getting it just as far as they did. And we'll see what they want to run here as we look at tortas and tacos.
You know, I can't take this anymore. Between Rachel at the desk talking about food and now just a zoom in on the taco shop. Guys, you already know food is my vice. I don't know if I can handle this right now. I know there's catering back there, so please stop torturing me.
I wonder what the catering is. Any guesses?
I don't know.
The guarantee is delicious. I mean, shout out to the catering. I mean, absolutely great. Yeah, now I'm hungry. Darn, ZP, I would have been fine. I would have been totally fine.
Misery loves company, but speaking of hunger right now, Hex, on the Overwatch front, there is a hunger from New Zealand to finish out this map and go 2-2. We'll see if they can satisfy their hunger now as the gates open and the match begins.
Well, they'll try to pull it even here. The reason you see so much Ana on defense, by the way, is because you see this aggressive tank play up on the rooftops. You need the distance healing, the very powerful healing output of an Ana over that distance in time to keep those tanks healthy. And now the jump up as the tanks from both teams will duel on the rooftops. Huwu gets the better of it.
Huwu, very good control coming out from them. Not only did he save Legabril after the dive in, but he threw in the damage on the kneel to give New Zealand a 6-on-5. Now, Brazil, who wanted to be aggressive with this dive defense, can't be quite as aggressive with a tank being down. So it's 5-on-5 now, but this is not a bad start here from New Zealand.
Well, defense gets a couple, but there is some progress already under the archway, and the bodies will just continue to push to this point. Willix is able to take down one of the Zenyattes there. The tanks have been working very well together, and they're staying so healthy. The defensive Ana is actually really good. The reason that tanks were so popular in the meta at a certain point in time is because Ana is so good at healing tanks. The healing rate very high, already has her nano boost ready for the defense of Brazil.
New Zealand right now keeping the payload moving forward. Brazil will have to commit here sooner rather than later. They've thrown the nano boost, but here comes Willix into the back himself, moving into the room, slicing his way right through. 2 kills here from Willix, and he has done his work. Should be enough for New Zealand to really get some momentum, but Dudu still alive and a threat.
Well, Willix able to take down the 2 pieces that they wanted to be able to combo. A beautiful charge shot from Alamo there, takes down Willix, and that was the kill that they needed on the defense. They lost Mirrors and they lost Calero early in that, and I think those are the 2 they wanted to work well together. Did not happen for them.
The interesting thing there, though, was Dudu, where even though Willix was doing really well with that engagement of a Dragon Blade, Dudu did so much work into the backline that it neutralized everything that really should have led to a good fight for New Zealand. So now they're back to the drawing board. 2 minutes left remaining as they try and conquer this courtyard.
They need at least the courtyard to get a little bit of extension here. Sign has actually been putting his name into the kill feed a little bit, and that's why Dudu's over there checking him. You don't necessarily need the kill, but you need to check that tracer. Sound Barrier comes in for the offense as they try to engage.
New Zealand right now trying to make the most of the beats. They're not able to convert on kills early on. Brazil, again, a good early disengage, but with Murray's falling to the self-destruct from Huwu, it's still a good fight for New Zealand. Everyone still alive, still very healthy. Brazil is going to have to commit now with only 5 players. Maurice with the tac visor could be big if he can find room, but right now it's not happening.
New Zealand getting everything that they need here. A self-destruct will come up over the top and force them off just a little bit, but no one foolish enough to fall through that. Willix does have another blade in the back line. Yet again, he gets pressured out, pushes them out a little bit. They're going to try to bring this back with a visor.
Visor coming in, but Sign having none of it. Cuts through Marie's enhanced protection and all. New Zealand, 3.5 minutes left to get through seconds.
Signed, sealed, and delivered right here. He's been playing very well on this map, able to take down the Soldier 76 with the help of his Zenyatta.
I don't want a letter from Signed. I feel like if I had a letter from Signed, I'd just be wondering who it's from, because he just wrote Signed twice.
Special delivery, you know, the pulse bomb line is what Signed's been doing all day here. The bad thing for Brazil is that they invested a lot trying to take that back, so they're going to be at an ultimate disadvantage here in short order. Signed is taken out by his counterpart in Dudu, and that's a good opening kill for Brazil's defense.
This just lets Brazil take a breather. Now they don't have to worry about the tracer into their back line. They can reestablish control. And with Legabrill going down, that is going to signal a full reset right now for this New Zealand team.
We are under 3 minutes, and the cart has a ways to go until they will reach the second checkpoint. Really, for me, at this point is all about high ground. You have to be able to take the high ground off. Defensively, you can sit on the high ground as long as you want. This is an interesting move. That's so cool. The D.Va scoop up the high ground.
The scoop comes in. Huwu again showing great management and gets his prey. Maurice out off of that engagement from Huwu. 5 on 5 right now, still very even. Huwu, though, can liven things up. Has a self-destruct in reserve. Might use it here to even things up, or they could just back out. Cantus is down, and that's going to leave them without the healing they need to stay in the fight.
Cantus used Transcend, but Alamo has been crushing people with these charge shots from Zenyatta. He had that lined up, and the moment that Cantus's light faded away, he put out those lights permanently and put him down. Now Brazil has really taken control of the economy yet again.
This is game defining what's coming up right now between both of these teams, because both have a lot in their ultimate banks, but the one who rises above the ashes of this fight will likely be in a great position for second. Willix, though, blade is out, Transcendence forces him away. Cantus down here for the New Zealand attack, so it's still 5 on 5, and Willix doesn't have an orb to really help him get back in. He's going to have to settle for the beat.
The late barrier comes in to try to keep this push going for New Zealand, but Huwu very low, demeched for what seems like one of the first times today, and that is Brazil holding sway over this point. 90 seconds remain for New Zealand on their next push.
That was such a big fight for Brazil. Both teams threw everything out into that fight, but is Brazil still with position, still in a big advantage when the dust had settled? So now New Zealand is going to have to do this without those ultimates in reserve.
It's going to be a micro battle between the tanks of New Zealand and Muras on the high ground. A soldier on a high ground is a dangerous thing. A soldier with a visor on a high ground is even more dangerous. They have the tools to shut it down, but they have to both come in together. The Winston starts first, gets slept, then woke.
I get really angry when I get woken up like that, so Legabrill, I understand, and it's a nice engage. Neil is down early on, forcing Maurice to try and bring this back. Looking for open targets right now. The payload being used for cover, and Cantus spooked. He uses the Transcendence there. I don't know if he had to, but for now, New Zealand still taking this fight relatively well.
If you were focused as much as Cantus has been focused, you'd be a little bit spooked as well. I understand the Transcendence in that situation, and now that Transcendence keeps him alive, keeps the healing and Discord out for his team, and they're able to pull through because of that. These kills are now coming fast and furious for New Zealand. Willix will not need the blade here. I'd like to see him hold on to it for this last push. It does appear they're going to get to second. Brazil has something to say.
Nano boosted Diva coming in right now. Liko trying to make some space. He's going to get taken down, so more durable or not, doesn't really matter. Dudu, though, find Willix into the back, and Brazil is going to go for a full contest. They come out with the Transcendence. This will let them get presence here on the point, and New Zealand, actually perhaps a little bit of trouble. They cannot give up any more kills.
Well, Neil's still here, stalling it out, waiting towards his team, trying to get reinforcements, but Cantus has come alive in the DPS role on this Zenyatta. He has been featured a lot. Neil is stalling it out. Brazil has done this on the first point, and it did not work out at all, stalling it out, but they stalled long enough to get all full reinforcements. Blade out from Willix.
Signs went down before the barrier hit. That would have been huge. A moment of seconds. Now Mao takes down Willix. My foot is better than your sword, he says, as Brazil holding on strong right now. In on the point, not letting New Zealand push it forward that last little bit. We are in overtime, and New Zealand's time might just be about over as Brazil takes map number 4.
By all rights, New Zealand should have had that push. Neil went invisible after Primal Rage. He just hung out under the hood of that truck up front, stalled it out long enough for his reinforcements to get there, and rewarded by great play from Alamo, who was able to shut down the blades towards the end. A great job from both of these teams. Brazil will take the set 3-1, but both teams going home from the World Cup qualifier with a win.